to computer. There we go. Okay, we are recording now. So thank you for joining me today for Mailchimp 101. We'll be covering everything from building your audience to sending out your campaign, and just a few of the different tools and features that Mailchimp offers you. I decided to offer this type of webinar today because I really think that this is a undervalued and tool that a lot of businesses maybe aren't taking advantage of, and I wanted to make sure that in times like this that you have every tool at your disposal to be successful as a business. And we use Mailchimp here at Your Social Status, which is why I decided to do a webinar on Mailchimp, but there are, as you'll see as we go through the presentation, there are plenty of platforms. So I'm not saying that this is the best fit for you, because I believe that there are other platforms that provide better features based on the type of business that you are, but this is what works really well for us and our clients, so I wanted to share it with you. Quickly, I do want to go through some upcoming training that we have coming up before we move into the Mailchimp webinar. So we've got some free and paid webinars coming up through almost the end of May. I was originally intending to have folks join me here at our new office space, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, and these webinars are working out pretty well. So we have Google Analytics 101 coming up April 23rd. And that's going to be a 2.5-hour webinar because it is extremely in-depth. Even though it's going to be beginner level, it's going to be a lot of information. So I want to make sure that we take the time to cover that. Then we've got a free webinar, Instagram 101. It's going to be basic. If you've joined us for any of the other free webinars, like Facebook, we're going to take you through setting up your Instagram profile, changing it to a business profile, and then just all of the settings and features that you can do through Instagram. On April 29th, we'll be doing social media ads. We'll be covering Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Snapchat ads. So we'll go through that, and that'll be about an hour and a half. Then we've got Intro to SEO. This is a class that a lot of people have asked about, and so I finally decided to pull the trigger and run that class. Similar to Google Analytics 101, it is going to be intensive, but it will be beginner level. So we are going to be covering terminology, what it means, and how it affects your business, your website, search engine rankings. We're going to talk about it all. So don't be intimidated by SEO, and I'm going to try and make this as user-friendly as possible, so that, you know, in the future, if you are talking SEO, you've got a little idea of what's going on. Then we've got a really fun one coming up May 12th. It is a free webinar, and is going to be social media content creation, the holiday edition. Believe it or not, in May, you should be thinking of fall as far as content, and then of course moving into the winter. So we want to make sure that you've got a grasp on your social media content before we move into the holidays. So I wanted to offer this webinar. And lastly, May 19th and 20th, we have a Build Your Own Website webinar. It's a 2-day intensive workshop where we're going to go through and cover absolutely everything from securing your own domain name to picking a hosting provider, installing WordPress, picking a theme, creating pages, everything that you could imagine that you would need to know. And believe it or not, you are going to be able to do that. And I apologize, my time on the slide is incorrect. That's supposed to be 9 a.m. to 2:30 both days. So we will have quite a few breaks throughout there. And it's just something that I want to make sure that we spend the time on. We're going to cover absolutely everything. But the great thing is that this class also includes 1 hour with myself after the webinar to help you with any remaining website issues, or you know, if you just want assistance with setting up your own website, whatever it may be, you get an hour from me. And then of course you'll always have the recording to go back to. So we'll have 2 days worth of recordings stepping you through creating your own website using WordPress, editing it, adding a theme, everything. I'm really excited to offer this, and I think this is a really affordable way for a business to get started, and we are offering an easy pay option as well. All right, so let's talk about today. Today on the Mailchimp webinar, my main goal is to make sure that you understand the importance of email marketing and how it may be crucial to your business. Talking about strategy and how you need one, even for email marketing. Reading your reports, utilizing the free data that you're getting from all of your customers, and then utilizing automation, which we'll talk about. So we're going to kind of ease into this because this is something that, again, as I mentioned earlier, I think a lot of people might do, but don't fully understand, or even if you do, I know how busy you are. So marketing, it often, especially with like small business or entrepreneurs, marketing is necessary, but it's easy to push aside because you're busy running your business. So I am going to spend some time just easing you into the basics. And then at the end, we will actually set up a Mailchimp account, create a campaign, and send out our first email newsletter. And I'll just send it to myself. But that way you can kind of see. We'll also log into a paid account so that you can see the extra features that are offered by Mailchimp for a paid account. But the cool thing is Mailchimp is free up to the first 2,000 subscribers. It's their forever free program. And it's just a really easy way for you to get started and kind of, like I said, ease into this. So as of the end of 2018, and this is the most recent data I could find, but it's still impactful. As of the end of 2018, 81% of small businesses were relying on email marketing as their primary acquisition tool. And when we talk about customer acquisition, it really applies to every business, whether it's a B2B or a B2C, and even in a business to consumer platform with the B2C, we think about retail and service-based. So when we think about email marketing and acquiring customers, as a small business owner, we're always trying to figure out how much does it cost to acquire a customer, because you need to build that into your budget. And should I be utilizing this versus social media, or both, or how do they work together? So, but 81% of small businesses rely on email marketing as their primary acquisition tool. So presentations and things that you put through your email marketing campaigns, whether it be presenting your products, which will show you how to hook up your shop, whether it be sharing information through an email campaign, they're very important. So we're going to talk about what exactly is email marketing and what are some common misconceptions that surround email marketing today. Because for a while, you know, there's always something that's hot and new, whether that's social media or text message marketing, flyers, if we're talking years ago, there's always something. And sometimes for a while, people were saying that, you know, well, I don't have a newsletter. You know, they thought of email marketing as like sending out a newsletter update, or I just think that email marketing is outdated. It's an outdated way of marketing, or it takes too much time. And now with the newer designs, people maybe feel like they don't have the skills. And then of course, there's always the spam, which we know is just a constant thorn in our side. I get hundreds of emails a day for my business, and probably 20% of them are actually email communication that I need between myself and clients or colleagues. So we know spam can be annoying, but that's what's great about using a platform like Mailchimp, because they have those precautions built in so that you're not spamming people, you're not annoying them, they're free to unsubscribe at any time, etc. So what is email marketing? And I like to say that it's sending any type of message, marketing message, to a specific group of people using a designed email. And the reason I say that is because we can just email anybody. And technically, you know, opening up your email client like Outlook and just starting a new email and emailing a group of people some information about a sale that you might be having or something that your business offers is technically email marketing. But what I like to think of it as is presenting information that has value, that holds a lot of value, that people can take and use and not necessarily purchase or buy from you, but just gain some value from you sharing. And then typically they're a little bit nicer looking than a plain text email. So one way to think about email marketing is that email is one of the most cost-effective and conversion-rich forms of digital marketing today. It can be potent, persuasive, and yield great results. And with one client in particular, who I'm going to share later on, we've noticed, such a huge increase in the conversion rate that we're getting versus our other marketing efforts through website and social media. And a lot of that is because these are our most qualified buyers. These are the people that keep reading and opening our emails. And even though we've grown our list to 10,000 plus people, we're still getting the same small percentage of people that are returning and buying time after time. So it's not always necessarily the size of your list, but your conversion ratio of, how many people do you have, how many people are opening it, and how many people are purchasing. So we send out multiple emails each month, at least weekly, sometimes more, depending on what might be going on with the business for this particular client. And we see some really great return. And part of it is because, we have a very specific offering and the people are, like I said, are very qualified, but also because I think that we have changed the way that it looks, and we've offered a very easy and simple way for somebody to purchase our product without having to go through our website homepage and then finding the product and then checking out. We've got a direct link to the product where they click it and check out. So depending on what you're going to be using your email marketing campaigns for, they can be extremely cost effective and yield high results. So as I mentioned in the beginning, there are quite a few, and I didn't want to list them all here because there are a ton, but there are quite a few different email marketing platforms. And when we look at, Mailchimp, Constant Contact, there's something called Drip, Get Response, ConvertKit. Each of these basically does the same thing, but also has different features based on, who they're marketing towards, what the platform is really built for. So yes, these are all email marketing platforms, but some of the free features or paid features or just basic infrastructure of the platform are going to be different. So there's a plus and minus for each of these, but I think Constant Contact's probably one of the most well-known. It's just not a personal favorite of mine, so that's the only reason. There's nothing bad about it. It's just I've just been a Mailchimp person from the beginning. So we are going to spend some time going through terminology, and typically I absolutely hate slides with lots of text, and I'm not going to sit here and read every single paragraph. You will get a copy of the slides and you will get the recording. But I do think because email marketing can be so foreign to so many people, that it is really, really important that we cover some of the basic terminology. And I've actually pared this down. I have a list of about 60 terms, and I'd be happy to send you that PDF sheet when we're finished here. But I didn't put all 60 here, but I did put the ones that I think are pretty important. And as I mentioned, I'll just quickly go through these. But if you've ever heard of A/B split test, it's really just us taking two separate subject lines, two different emails, but have the same content or the same general idea, and just testing it with different groups of people to see how it performs. There's the term auto follow-up, and that's when an email is sent in, immediately after the next one to remind somebody about something that we just told them about. That's different than an autoresponder. An autoresponder is automated as well, but it's also a message or series of messages, depending on how you set them up, that are triggered based on different criteria that you set. And we'll go through that in a little bit when we get into Mailchimp. There's also the term bounce rate, which will be coming up in our Google Analytics and SEO webinars. And a lot of times these terms are the same across different subject matter, and that's the case here. But the bounce rate is the percentage of emails that don't actually reach the inbox of your recipient. So, and that could be because it's an old email address, a bad email address that was misentered, whatever it might be. But Mailchimp's really great at giving you really, really good information, and bounce rate is one of those. Then we look at call to action, or a CTA. Inbound marketing is a really big method of marketing right now, where you design your website or a landing page to collect data from people to build your email list, and then, you know, pump out your products and services to them. So these call to actions are a way to get people there into your funnel. So a CTA is a way that, you know, through the email, we can ask somebody to, you know, sign up for our email and we'll send you this free brochure or something of value to that person. Conversion rate is the number of people who complete your desired task. So it's not necessarily a sale. It could be a download of something. It could be just, you know, how many people did you get to actually sign up for your mailing list? So conversion rate is literally just performing an act that you've set a goal for. Drip marketing is when you have a series of pre-written emails. I don't know how many of you have seen on Facebook those ads where somebody says, join me for this free webinar and I'm going to show you X, Y, and Z. And at the end, they show you something, and at the very end they sell you their package, their training, their platform, whatever it might be. So and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, a different type of business. So they set up drip marketing campaigns where after you sign up for that first webinar, or you sign up to be a part of whatever they're selling, a class on a platform, whatever it might be, they set up a series of emails to go out every day, every 2 days, whatever it might be, that either guides you through, reminds you to come back, whatever it might be. And that's called a drip marketing campaign, where they plan out everything ahead of time to make sure that, you know, that they keep emailing you and keep emailing you. Email client. I thought this was important. It doesn't necessarily pertain directly to Mailchimp or any email marketing campaign platform, but it's something that a lot of people might not know about. An email client is the software that you view, or a computer application that you view your emails through. Probably one of the most well-known is Outlook, but you've also got iMail that can be downloaded onto your computer. So we're not talking about Gmail or anything through a web browser, but something that you view your email through. Something where you can add multiple accounts, you know, different email accounts. So then we've got, this is kind of the bad page of terminology. We've got email harvesting or scraping. And there are people that write scripts that will go through, and this is where all your spam comes through. It's illegal to do, but it's typically just pulling a list of email addresses, and then a lot of people either keep them for themselves or sell them to other people. They sell your information. Email phishing is another activity where scammers will mask your email address. So I don't know if you've gotten emails from, hey, your Apple ID has been changed. Click on this link to log in. And then they're recording every keystroke. Or a lot lately, I've been getting Amazon, you know, your payment didn't go through on your Amazon order. And I had just placed an order maybe the day before. So I'm thinking, oh no, did my credit card expire or something? And then I open it and it's like, oh no, this is a phishing email where they're just trying to get my information. Email queue is pretty self-explanatory, but for automated emails, it's where emails go and kind of hang out and wait to be sent out. And that really applies to the drip campaigns or any type of automation for like a welcome email or something like that. Then we look at gray email. That is where somebody did sign in at one time, sign up and opted into your list at one point in time, but then maybe they've just lost interest and they keep getting your emails and they don't unsubscribe themselves, but they're not interacting. So they're kind of just these dead people on your list that aren't going to convert in any way. But technically they did opt in and haven't unsubscribed. So they're just kind of there. So now we look at some other things that could necessarily be negative towards your email campaign, depending on, and we've been facing this recently with a client, depending on what you're putting in your emails, you're graded on what you're sending. And image blocking is a term that talks about a default setting that an email client has, or a personal preference that maybe you've set that automatically blocks images. And I know based on our backgrounds and our current job situations, I'm sure you've seen where emails aren't going through, they're being rejected, or your employer has extremely strict settings to try and thwart spam or whatever it might be. So image blocking is a term where you get the email through and there's no pictures in it, but you'll see the placeholders. Domain blacklist, this is not where you want to be. This is, there are anti-spam groups that will blacklist a domain. A lot of hosting platforms will blacklist, and blacklist is just as bad as it sounds. It's literally a list of domain names that they will not allow emails through to your inbox. So depending on if you host your own email or not, you'll be able to set that list. I don't want to receive emails from anybody with this domain name. But then also on the flip side, using email campaign platforms like Mailchimp, Constant Contact will help you avoid that, which is great. Double opt-in. This is something that you may have seen before, where you get an email to click a link to confirm that you really did want to sign up for a mailing list. And it's always a nice extra layer of security feature to kind of make sure that you're building a great list of people that really want to be on your mailing list. And then email campaign. An actual email campaign, much like a marketing campaign or an ads campaign, is a series of emails that are set to achieve one goal. So if we're getting ready to have a grand opening, I might run a grand opening campaign, and in there I will map out 2 or 3 weeks worth of emails that all have the same goal of getting people to show up at our opening. So that would be, my email campaign would contain all of that. Email deliverability. So is it reaching the inbox? And higher the deliverability rate, the better odds you'll have of more people interacting in your list of contacts staying positive. Email filters. These can be set within the email client, and you can classify certain things as spam or not. A lot of emails are already filtered out. Email list is a collection of information of individuals, and that's what we're going to be focusing on later today, is how to build your list, how to personalize your list, and how to use the segmentation tool. And then email marketing. So separate from an email campaign, email marketing is just using emails to develop and maintain a relationship between clients. And I promise we're almost there. Email service provider. So a lot of folks seem to get internet service provider and email service provider mixed up. So your email service provider is the company that you have set up your email through, whether it's Google, Yahoo, Microsoft. There's so many different email service providers. Gmail is still the top most popular email service provider out there. Email templates. These pertain to our email marketing campaign, and we'll go through the email templates, but it's basically just a design, and it's designed specifically to tailor to your whatever your campaign or email to your customers is going to be. Email verification. So every time that you send an email out Mailchimp in particular checks your list of people that you're sending to, and they'll say, the last time you sent this email, it bounced back, so we're going to clean it from your list this time, which means that they're going to remove it. Or if they get a bad hit, or if somebody unsubscribes. So what they automatically do for you is every time that you send an email, they kind of just verify that everybody on your list is still active. And if not, they take steps to remove them automatically from your list without you having to do anything. GDPR is something that's worth mentioning. I wasn't going to put it in here, but when we talk about spam and privacy, the General Data Protection Regulation was a law that was put into action a little bit ago, which protects the personal data of citizens and people, and just really it's an attempt to go against spamming. And a lot of websites now have to be GDPR compliant and share their privacy policy. So hard bounce, that kind of refers back to what we were talking about earlier, where Mailchimp will clean your list for you. HTML tags gives us the opportunity to really personalize the list, and I'll show you what Mailchimp's looks like. Everybody's is different, but we do have the option to personalize our emails. And if you're on my company's email list at Your Social Status, you'll see that we always do hi and first name if you filled it in. If you haven't filled in your name, it probably says hi first name. So, but we typically, try to personalize it as much as we can. A landing page is going to be an individual page on a website that a person will be led to, most likely from your email campaign or an ad on social media. And the whole idea of a landing page is to get somebody to interact directly with an offer that you have. And then, of course, to grab their information to market to them in the future. So landing pages are going to play a big part in this. Typically, the design of a landing page is very simple. There's almost always a form that they'll fill out, and in return, they'll get whatever they came there for, typically some type of download of valuable information. And most landing pages do not have a menu, because the whole idea is that you want to send somebody to this page on your website and you don't want them to go anywhere else. You want them to fill out your form, get what they came for, and leave. And quite honestly, they probably don't want to go around your website either, because they're just there for the free goodies. So a landing page is really just an exchange of valuable information for their valuable email address. And that's typically what the purpose that it serves. So link clicks, also known as CTR, the click-through rate. This is, the percentage of people that click on links or buttons in your email. Now this is getting more into Mailchimp. We're going to talk about list segmentation. And that's where you've got a master list of all of these people. But let's say that I offer a class specifically for realtors, because I have a background in property management, real estate, apartments, condos, all that stuff, from my time working with town properties. So I offer real estate-based classes because I know that industry well. So I'll take my master list and then I'll create a real estate segment. So I can say, please only send this specific email to people in my real estate segment only, because maybe I'm, promoting a class to just realtors. So that's something that you can do versus having to create a whole new list of people that are just realtors. It would be much easier to have a master list, and that way you can market everything to realtors and everybody else on your list, or you can market just to realtors if you've got something specific. So newsletter versus an email campaign, or a marketing email, is completely different. A newsletter can be sent through an email marketing tool like Mailchimp, but don't think that just because you're utilizing something like Mailchimp that you necessarily have to send out a newsletter format. The open rate, pretty self-explanatory. It's the percentage of people that open your email. And opt-out is the giving people the opportunity to unsubscribe or not be included in a mailing list. Sender score is something we were talking about earlier, but it's a way that internet service providers and hosts of your email will measure the reputation of the person sending emails to you and decide whether it should be sent to your inbox or not. And it's a very important number because it can damage your ability to send emails successfully. Shared IP, I won't cover now, but it is something that we are going to cover in the website development webinar coming up. But basically you've got shared hosting, or you can buy a private IP and have your own hosting platform. The downside with shared is that you're sharing it with other people who might also affect your ability to send email. And this is send email from your website, not from Google, not from Yahoo or anything like that. We're talking about sending email from your website domain name. We already talked about the opt-in, and then soft bounce is kind of like that gray list that we were talking about earlier where, you know, an email can't be delivered. This falls in that kind of same category. And this is an email can't be delivered because the mailbox is full, or they were just, you know, their server was offline for whatever reason. Then we've got the unsubscribe rate. This is also something to take a look at, because if you're getting a lot of unsubscribes, you either added people that didn't want to be there, or you're pumping out information that they just don't want to read. So this is also called list churn, if you've seen that term, and it's just something that you do want to make sure that you pay attention to. Then we've got whitelist. That's a great list to be on, because that's the spot where you know that what you're sending people, they're interacting with, you've got a great domain reputation, and your email is going to get through. List hygiene, we don't have to cover. Responsive design, if you haven't heard the term responsive as it relates to your website, it just means that your website can show correctly on any sized screen. And so you want to make sure that when you're sending out emails that they're also responsive, because over 80% of people read their email on their cell phone now. So if we're including any type of design, we want to make sure that our design is responsive and shows up well on our cell phone. And Mailchimp does that automatically, which is awesome. So we're done with our little terminology. I know that that was a lot of slides and a lot of information, but as you start working with a social media, or I'm sorry, an email marketing platform, you will see some of these words, and I just wanted you to have a little bit of understanding and knowledge of what that terminology really means. And like I said, sometimes you just have to do it to understand it. But at least you'll be familiar and say, okay, I've heard that term before and I understand what it means. So, because it is important to be able to read your reports and know what they mean. So when we think about, and I say this in every single webinar because it's so important, every part of marketing, whether it's social media, a website, search engine optimization, whatever it might be, you should have a strategy, a plan of some sort when you're going into that, market your business. Because everything that we put online needs to be part of a bigger plan. And it doesn't have to be a very large, drawn out, detailed strategy, but you at least want to have some idea of what you're looking to achieve by utilizing that tool. So if you're ready to start a Facebook page, you better make sure that you're posting consistently. And if you're ready to start emailing people, make sure that you have some type of strategy in mind. And I am so guilty of this myself. I often forget to market my own business, and it's something that, I get caught up in serving my clients and realize, okay, I need a strategy for myself too. So with email marketing, just write it into I like to kind of combine it with my social media strategy and say, all right, here's what I'm putting out this week on Facebook and Instagram or whatever it might be. And I need to make sure that I get a blog up on my website, and a blog is a great piece of information to include in your email campaign. So kind of think about what strategy you want to take. So some things to consider or to help guide you in your strategy is make sure that you've got some kind of schedule set up. If it's once a week, once a month, bi-monthly, whatever it is, just be consistent and say, this is what I'm going to commit to. You can always increase it or decrease it, but you want to have some idea and not be sporadic, because people start expecting to see you in their inbox. It's always great to personalize your message. I like, if you currently are on our mailing list, I like to write it myself and write a little blurb at the beginning, because I genuinely do want to know what's going on with small businesses, because that's our primary client. And I want to make sure that, you know, I can provide as much value as possible in hopes of us continuing a great relationship in the future, whether it's referrals, whether we work together, whatever it might be. I want to add that personal message. And then my other favorite is I love sharing knowledge or value. And that's why I decided to do some free and some highly discounted webinars during this time, because I love to teach. I love to share what I know. And I love kind of just seeing small businesses utilize that information. So take that same approach. And you don't have to be a service-based business to do that. A lot of times, you know, if we work with somebody who's a client that's a retailer that has a brick and mortar store, they're really kind of at a loss as to what to send out in an email marketing campaign. But there's no reason that they can't share, let's say it's an ice cream shop, that they can't share news about the ice cream industry, or what's coming up this summer, or what events they'll be showing up at with their ice cream truck. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can share information and organize it into an email marketing campaign. Now, going back to like online, you know, e-commerce, or thinking about getting people to sign up for something, or, you know, we're going back to that automated side of email marketing. We want to make sure that we're re-engaging customers. Somebody who's really great at that is all those big online retailers, Target, Macy's, whatever. They'll say, hey, oops, you left this in your cart. Or, hey, something you were looking at 2 weeks ago is now on sale. So they have these drip campaigns set up where they're automated campaigns that take your action on their website, put it into an email, send it to you in the hopes of getting you to come back and purchase whatever you were looking at. And of course, we already mentioned, make sure that, you know, you're using responsive designs. And the last thing that's really, really important that a lot of people don't look at are the analytics, the reports. I love Mailchimp's reports, and I'll show you a couple when we log in here. They'll give you something that's called a click map. So you're able to look at your actual email and see which links are people clicking on. What are they most interested in? How far are they scrolling through your newsletter? So there's, you know, when did they open it? Who opened it? How many times have they viewed it? People that just delete it and don't even open it. So there's so much information in there that you can utilize, not only for future campaigns, but also for, you know, your other marketing strategies. All right, so what we're going to move into now is the actual how-to part. We're going to look up setting up your account and how to get started with Mailchimp. Then we'll move into building your audience, where we'll cover list building, sending them to landing pages, connecting your social media, advertising on your website, etc., to get people to sign up. How to import contacts. There's different ways that you can add people to your list other than just having them sign up. And then best practices for building your audience. Then we'll actually choose a design, and I'll show you how to create your email campaign. You can add text, images, videos, products, links. There's so many options for an email campaign. So hopefully once we get in here, you'll be able to take a look at it and see how it might apply to your business. You can also choose audience, your master audience or segments, and send them. And I'll show you some of the segments that you can send to when we get in there. And then we'll read the report. So we'll go over the click map, the open rate, the bounce, the unsubscribes, all of that. Revenue that might have been earned from your newsletter, etc. And if we've got time, we'll go through the email marketing automation. That will be part of the paid account, so hopefully we'll get in and take a look at that. It is a little bit more advanced, but I wanted to hopefully get some automation in here for today. All right, so we'll hop out of here and let me share. Oops. So we're actually going to head over to Mailchimp. So if you want to sign up for Mailchimp, you can sign up for free, and I will see if I have an email that I haven't used. So you literally just fill out the information. They're going to send you an email to verify, and then we'll hopefully get in. And let's see if Karen can verify for me so that we can get in. And while we're waiting for that, what I'll do is I might restart and go back here. I'll at least log in while we're waiting for the new account. This is actually not a paid account, so let's pretend that this is the account that I just signed up for. So you would sign up, you would verify the email that they send you and your email address, and then you'd get into your free account. So this, my business account here is a free account, but we do have paid accounts for our other businesses, which I will show you one towards the end here. So there's some basics like filling out your information, and that's going to be over here in your profile area. So we can go to account and fill out any information that you might need to, like billing information if you decide to upgrade, any integrations, or any other user information or details. So I just want to make sure that you have all of your basic business information in here. But then if you've gotten emails before, there's typically at the footer your business address or business information along with the Mailchimp information that we'll put in a different area. That's in the list area. But you will want to fill out just your basic information here, and they step you through. You can even say, I wanted confirmation email from Mailchimp when you perform these actions. So it's all of your basic settings here, nothing too crazy. So what we're going to get into is actually starting to build a list and create your first campaign. So up at the top here, you've got campaigns, automate, audience, and your brand information, and then reports. Or you can use the click create tool. So you can start here and create an email. We're not going to get into the ads, website, landing page, etc. right now because that's a little more advanced than the basic. But you can do a quick start. What's really cool is you can pull your information, your list, your mailing list from Mailchimp and run a Facebook targeted ad that reaches people that have that same email address on Facebook. So you can get really, really targeted with people through ads, which is really cool. But we could do a whole session on that. So what we're going to do first before we get into campaigns is we're going to build our audience. So I'll go click audience, and then I'm actually going to I've got a few different audiences here. But then you can also import contacts into your audience. So depending on if you want to create a new audience or manage the current contacts that you have, you can add a person under this Manage Audience button just by hitting Add a Subscriber. So this will be one email that you should probably have permission to do, but you can put their email address, first and last name, and then you want to click HTML so that they get the nice looking design versus a plain text. And then if you wanted to create a tag for this particular person, you could. A tag is a way to segment somebody. So if you met this particular person at a networking event that for whatever reason you might market to people that you meet at networking events, I could actually say, I want to tag this person with networking. Okay, and this is important for future segmentation. When we go through and we look at potentially, like I did with realtors, potentially hitting just realtors with a particular set of training classes, I'll be able to choose networking as a way to target people that I met at certain networking events. And then you would say that they gave you permission if they did. And then if you're not sure if this person is already in your audience or not, you can check this. I always check it just to be sure, because what it's going to do is update that with the most recent information. Okay, so that's how you add a subscriber, just one single person. If you're looking to import an audience, if this is something where you've obtained a list of people because maybe you were at a trade show and they signed up for your mailing list in exchange for a chance to win something, or you've had them sign up on a sheet of paper or through some other form, you are able to import an audience. So when we click import, you can do a CSV, you can copy and paste, or you can use, you can import if you're switching. Let's say you're switching from Constant Contact to Mailchimp and you want to keep your whole mailing list, you can do that. But what's really cool with a CSV file or even an Excel file is you can browse to your computer, find a CSV, and let's see if I've got one on here just for today's training. Okay, so this is an HOA address book. I won't really add them to my address books, but what we'll do is I've got my CSV that I browsed and uploaded. I'm going to hit continue to match. So based on the columns in this CSV, I can say, yes, this is all the last names. Yes, this is all the first names. This is clearly their email address. I could hit skip because it doesn't apply, and then I could hit skip here because it doesn't apply. Once I was finished, then I could go through, I mean, clearly there's a lot of columns, but I would skip everything and then it would import. Okay, so you have the opportunity when you're importing a list to match up people's information with Mailchimp's information fields as well. So I'm actually going to go back out of here, and I'll just hit exit and go back to the dashboard. All right, so a while ago, if you used Mailchimp a while ago, this used to be called like list, I think, and now they're calling it audience, but this is where all of your contacts are. And just because you have contacts does not mean that they're subscribed. So this audience has 436 contacts, but only 364 of them are subscribers. And this is because of the way that the people maybe signed up through my website or through Facebook and have since unsubscribed or have been scrubbed or whatever. So Mailchimp keeps their information, but if somebody unsubscribes, they are no longer receiving your emails. So just know that sometimes these numbers differ. All right. So as I mentioned, you can add tags to people. You can see where are people finding you from, or where are they moving to your list from? How are they getting there? And then if I had a paid account, they're even going to give me demographics about the audience that subscribing to my email list, which is really cool. And I'll show you that in the other account. We can also see the type of engagement that we're getting, whether it's, you know, clicks or shares, and where the people are coming from. So as I mentioned, and this is just on the free account, there's a lot of information that you can get. Now, if we go into campaigns, so let's say that we've imported a list of people, or we have set up some forms on our website or Facebook to get people to connect to here. And now we've built our list. Now we want to send out a campaign. So from the dashboard, I'm just literally clicking on campaigns, or you could click create email. So remember, this is a campaign. So typically, if you want to keep things organized, which you'll see I have not, and I probably should have, but if you want to keep things nice and organized and you have an actual campaign in mind, you can name that campaign. So I might say something like new class offerings. All right, let's say that these particular series of emails are going to be regular emails. They're not going to be automated. All right, but I might send like 4 out under this campaign. So I'm going to hit begin. All right, so who am I going to send my campaign to? And this is what's so awesome about Mailchimp, is that they do make it very, very easy to step you through creating your first email, okay, and designing it. So you're going to select a list and choose an audience. So this is why you want to do the audience first before you move into campaigns, because you need to have a group of people to send the emails to. All right, and then of course, if you're segmenting your list, so you've got your master list of, let's say, 300 people, and you've segmented those people into 3 groups of 100 based on their current profession. Then you can either choose an audience. So let's say I said realtors, and I can then choose based on a segment, like potential customers, recent customers, first time, or I can say something like, let's create a new segment, and I'm going to send it to any people who have joined my list since I last sent a campaign, or since a specific email was sent. Okay, so you can add conditions to your email to really target people and make sure that whoever you're sending emails to speaks to them exactly, you know, whatever content you're putting in your email. All right, so I could do something like that. And then I always like to personalize the to field so that when they receive it, it says their name. So if you see from the drop down, there's first name, last name, or their full name, or something custom. I typically do first name, and then I hit save. So now what I've done is I've created a custom segment in this particular audience to receive an email that I'm going to write that's going to be geared towards them. Now, the email is coming from info@yoursocialstatus.com. This is really important that you use an email address that is also associated with your website. So you don't necessarily want to come in here with a Gmail account and say this is from some person at Gmail sending out, because then it kind of looks like spam. And what happens is you're able to actually go through your account and authorize your domain name. So I'll actually pop this open in a new link. So we're talking about if you've got a website like yoursocialstatus.com, all right, and you want to go through and go to domains. So we're going to go, we went up here to settings and then account, all right, and then in our account, we're going to go to the settings in the account and domains. So what you can do is verify your domain to then authenticate it. All right. You can also connect your domain name here or purchase a domain through them. But what you'll do is they'll actually step you through the authentication process. So mine's verified here. So that helps and increases my chances of my emails coming through. So when you go through the settings portion and you are filling out the details about your business, all right, here's my account name, my time zone, etc. Make sure that you step through each of these, including contact information. Okay, so this is just your profile information, your address and everything. And then of course, any billing information if you have a paid account. All right, so that was in the domain section if you want to verify your domain. So we'll go back to the campaign. So my from is actually from info@yoursocialstatus.com, which is a confirmed and verified domain name. Then maybe the subject is, I don't really love social media for realtors. So what you can do is you can, after you've sent a couple campaigns, you can actually click and see how your recent subject lines performed. And based on what was put in there, you could write something similar. You also have the option to put in an emoji if you'd like to. And I don't know, just for today, I'll just put something in here. Come on, where's my little starburst? All right, just something to, catch their eye. And you typically don't want to put many more emojis. And as you start to type your subject line, you'll see over here the suggestion box. So I've got all green check marks right now because Mailchimp is saying that I've got a pretty good subject line, which I don't have any words yet, but I haven't, gone against what they're saying yet. So I might say something like new offering or new workshop, complete your continuing education hours, something like that. Where we're currently working through getting verified to provide social media for realtors as continuing education hours classes. So I might be marketing to a very specific group of people because this is a very specific class. Then I've got my preview text. So this is the little bit, a snippet line that you see, especially like on your cell phone or in Outlook. It's like a little preview of what's going to be in your email. So sign up now for 3 CE hours or something like that. Okay, so I'm still hitting all of the check marks over here. If I added another emoji, I'll show you what it looks like. So because I added another emoji, it's given me a caution. And then if I added like more, it'll say, whoa, your space is limited and you really shouldn't be adding that many emojis. So it will kind of guide you through, which is really, really cool. If I hit recent subject lines, as I mentioned before, it'll show you the open rate based on those subject lines, which is cool. So now I'm going to hit save. So now we're getting into the fun part, or what I think is the really fun part. Some people get a little bit stressed by it, but I would say when you're getting ready to design your email, A, you do not need to be a designer, and B, don't worry, because I like to look at things as boxes, just much like a website. Anymore, a responsive website is just a set of boxes, and we stick information in these boxes. And if you look at this right now, before we even get into the email, this is literally boxes and columns, right? So they'll help guide you through, and don't be afraid to use emails that you get from other people that aren't even necessarily in your industry. If you like the layout or the way something looks, use it, okay, and make it your own. So I'm going to hit design email. So because this is a free account, they will limit the different types or designs that you're able to use, and you'll see that where it'll say upgrade to use this layout, and that's because it's a little bit more enhanced, right? There's a little bit of, it breaks up the way that your email looks. You've got nice columns and stuff, but I'll show you how to get around that a little bit. So they have layouts here. So these are, if you're a box thinker, if you're somebody that's like, okay, yeah, I can see putting this here and that there and putting my logo there, then by all means utilize this section. If you'd rather, you can go to themes and you can use some of the featured templates that they've already designed for you. Now, this is how I started off. Before I really got into website development, I just needed to see something. I needed to start with a visual. So if you're more of a visual person, you can come over to the themes. You can search, if you have an event coming up, you can search and narrow down by event, holiday, whatever it might be. So you can come that way. If you've ever uploaded, oh, here's a great, this is a very, very, very old, probably one of my first versions of an email from years ago that I've got in here. So anyway, this was my first attempt at making my own template. So I've got a saved template in here from years ago. Campaigns, so if you wanted to copy a previous campaign, you could come in here and replicate it that way, okay? Or you can code your own. So if you know how to do it, or if you have somebody that can code it, you can import your own. So I'm going to go back to layouts. And what I like about this in particular is that they kind of guide you and say, what do you want to do? Do you want to sell some products? Do you want to make an announcement, etc.? So for today, we're going to start with just this basic, we're going to sell some products. Now, just because it says sell products doesn't mean that you have to be selling products in this email. All right, so you've got your basic 1-column, 2-column layout here. And it's very basic and there's nothing in it. So sticking with the real estate theme, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop out and go to Canva here. And if you missed it, we hosted a paid Canva workshop last week that walks you through how to create images for absolutely everything. And you're still able to get that online if you want the recording. You can just shoot me an email or you can purchase it through the website. So anyway, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create an email header. And it happened to be right here, but I also could have searched for it up in the box. Now, this won't be anything super fancy, but I might search for something like, I might do education. All right, not super fun, but I'm just making my little header here. All right, so we might throw some photos in that speak to the industry, okay, as well as that this is going to be a class or training. So I might even put laptop in here to get some training pictures. Let's see, this. All right, so they're continuing their education. And we're gonna name this Real Estate Continuing Education. Get rid of that. Move this over here. And then I'll say social media marketing for realtors. All right, so this is a specific class aimed at realtors that is going to also count as continuing education credits. So I'm actually going to share this directly to Mailchimp. All right, and I'll download it just to make sure I've got it here. All right, so I've created my header and I'll put my logo in here first. So all you have to do as you come in here is you're literally just going to tap and it's going to pop open a section here. So it's very easy to use, but it does give you the option to get really advanced as well. All right, so I'm gonna hit logo. Now know that I've already loaded, because of my previous emails in here, I've already loaded logos and things like that, but you can easily just hit upload and it browses right to your computer and you can upload something. So you can also search. So here's my logo though, so I'll hit insert. Super easy. And then I can actually change the size, or I can make it smaller here, okay? And then if I wanted to style the background, so maybe I don't want that gray color, I can come here and actually change the color, let's say. I mean, I don't want that, but, or I could make it like a lighter gray, something like that. I'll make it white for now. And then what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna delete this box, and I'm gonna pull an image card over. So what's really cool about this is all drag and drop. If you've never worked with a drag and drop editor, they've come a long way and it's very, very easy. So what I wanna do is upload that image that I just downloaded. And I want this to be my header image just below my logo. And it was already in here because I hit shared to Mailchimp, but that's all right. All right, so it's in the spot now. So I've got this here, and in fact, I'm gonna make it even smaller, and this here. One thing that you always wanna do is link your images, and you can copy and paste. I just know mine. And I'm gonna hit advanced options and make sure open in a new window is checked and hit insert. So if somebody happens to click on that, it'll pop open my website. And then here's this image. One thing I do want to do is make sure that we are checking the settings, that it's centered, but also that it's going edge to edge with my margins, and see how it just kind of popped it and made it a little bit larger there. Okay. I'm going to hit save and close. Now again, I know this isn't like super pretty. The other thing I'm going to do is drag my header spacing up so that it's real tight there. I don't like a ton of white space. If I wanted to, I could have put an image in this background header area, and when I log into this other account, I'll show you. And then you can come through and just type whatever you want to type. If you want to share information about, you know, make sure that you sign up to get your CE credits and learn how Facebook can benefit you as a realtor, let's just say. Okay, super easy. You have all of the editing tools like you do in Word. So you can come in here, bold, italicize, underline. You can change the font type. They give you some custom fonts in here. They are still limited because they need to be, you know, widely accepted internet fonts, but you do have a little bit of room to kind of play with that. You can change the colors. And if you hit more, you can literally pick any color, or if you have specific brand colors and you know your hex code, which is the # plus the 6 numbers following, you can put that in there, and I can just hit OK. And there, now it's live. It's changing it over here for me. All right. I also am able to center, left, and right justify. I can do bullets and numbering. I can also add a photo here. So if I didn't want to use the photo block above, but I actually wanted some text wrapping around a picture, I just hit the image, click my photo, hit insert. I'm going to take my image down to probably about 200. I'll link it to a website, open in a new window, and then I'm going to hit show image style options. I like to have a little bit of a margin around my images so that the text isn't running right into the photo when it's wrapping. So typically what I do is I give it about 15 pixels to the right and 15 pixels to the bottom, because the left and the top won't matter because the image is the first thing here. I'll click on the image once and hit left justify, whoops, and it'll wrap my text for me. Okay. Now if you see here, I'm going to left justify that. And if you look over here, the text looks a little bit gray. So I'll come in and just make sure that it's black and it shows up black over here. All right. I just hit save and close. Very simple. Now, if I wanted to, just to kind of show you, these are all of your editing blocks over here. So every possible type of content that you want to share, you can. So if I wanted a product, I could drop a product block. So this is free. This is a part of the free account, but it does take, you do have to set it up though. You do have to connect it to products on your website. So I have already connected it, and I would just hit browse all and search for the name, Jumpstart Your Real Estate. Okay, and hit insert. And when I do that, it's now pulling directly from my website. And I know that image is blurry. We're going to change the layout. All right. But this is pulling directly from my website. So you are able to insert products and edit products directly in Mailchimp, but you do have to go through the process of setting that up. And if you need help, I'm more than happy to help you. And you can style absolutely everything. So when we talk about content blocks, we're just talking about clicking and dragging something and literally choosing, okay, I want to ask people to follow me on Facebook, so I put my Facebook link in, or whatever it might be. And you can change it if you wanted Instagram or people to go to your website, and you would put your full URL in here. It would be like that, and you would hit save and close. So you can drag and drop anything you want into here and then edit it. The same goes if you want to delete it. You just hover over and hit the trash can. Yes, delete. And then within every content block, not only can you change the colors, the bold, the text settings and add pictures, you can also style the actual block here. All right. So if you wanted to, you can change the font for this particular block. You can say center it all. You can say make it all bold. And then if you want to, you can even hit apply to all existing blocks, anything that has text. And then if you want to go further into settings, you can change it from 1 column to 2 columns. And you can do a split where it's like, a 1/3, 2/3, or that. So you do have the option in text blocks to even split your columns. So what I like to say is, for every block here, so for every piece or chunk of your email, you have the option to completely customize it. So once you're in the block, make sure you do the content, the styling, and check the settings for each one, because there's stuff in here that you can do to create some columns and some different layouts, just to kind of keep it interesting and change it up so that you don't have row after row after row of the same stuff. All right, so content, style, and settings for each section. And then here's all of the blocks. If you want to style the overall newsletter, so we're talking about this entire background area, you could just hit style when you're not clicked on a particular block. So since I'm not in editing one of these blocks, I can hit style, and I can style the page, the header, the body, the footer, or the referral badge down the bottom, which is the Mailchimp image. Okay, you can click and drag any of these sections to close the space so that there's not so much dead space, which I like to do. So now I kind of blew through that a little bit. And I know that this is a mess of a email, but I do want to get to the next part here. All right, so we've added in our logo and our header. We've added in the body. I could click on this if I wanted to edit the button and send them to a website or an email or to download a file. Okay, so I've added all my content, and I'm going to hit save and close. Now I'm going to the next step where I'm going to hit continue. All right, so now we're back where we started. All right, so I've got my to, my from, my subject, and I've got an X on my content. And it's because I didn't edit all of my sections. So what I'll do is I'll edit, I'll go back in, and I'll remove the placeholder content because they're saying, hey, you can't use this, it's not real content. All right, there we go. And hit continue. So now that you're on the campaign screen, you're ready to send it. One thing that I highly, highly recommend, and even after years and years of doing this, I still mess up. I still have typos. I still forget to put something in a certain spot. So there's two things you can do. One is you can click on the image and hit preview and just see what it's going to look like. Okay. The other thing, and you can click desktop, mobile. So here's what it's going to look like on a cell phone. Okay. And in somebody's inbox, which we'd have to upload or upgrade for. So I'm going to hit X. So there's the preview. The other thing that I highly recommend, send a test email. When you click that, you can type, this is my Yahoo address, I can type and send it to myself. If I'm sending it to somebody else to review for me, I can actually type them a little message here that says, hey, could you proofread this for me? And I would hit send test and it's going to come through to my email. All right. So always, always check your work, whether it's viewing it here or sending a test email or both. You also have the option to connect a social media account and put up a post that says, hey, we just sent out this email about. So if I clicked that on, I could just use the default subject line, but add my own picture if I wanted to. And then it would auto post to my business page for me. And then I would hit save message. So when I send this, it would send my email out, but then it's also posting on my social media account for me, which is really cool. All right, so now I've got the option to finish later. If I want to come back maybe tomorrow and add some more to it, I can just hit finish later. It's going to take me to my home screen. I can also schedule my campaign. And if you upgrade, it'll actually optimize a send time based on engagement. So they'll actually analyze your reports from other social or from other email campaigns that have been sent out, and it'll say this is the optimal time and day. Or you can say send it tomorrow at 2:15 or whatever it might be, and you can schedule the campaign. Or you could just send it now. All right, now I am going to try and wrap up here. I didn't get to everything, but I want to be mindful of everybody's time. So I might share a couple more videos on my Facebook page. So make sure you follow us on Facebook. It's just Your Social Status, and you'll be able to see a couple of these. I'll share some training videos with you of some advanced features here. So now that I've sent some campaigns, now's the time to look at the reports. All right, so once you send out an email, you're going to get a report on them. So you can hit the reports button up here, and you can view and see, okay, how many opens is this particular list getting? So this got 50 opens out of however many people we sent it to. All right, but it only got one click. Okay, so what was it? This one generated $70 in revenue. So it's going to tell you different things about the report. So I'll hit view report for this particular campaign, and it's going to give you everything. The time, how many people opened, how many bounced, how many unsubscribed, what was the performance like over 24 hours. Here are the top links that were clicked from the email, and I won't scroll down more because it's going to give people's information out, but subscribers with the most opens is down there. So it's going to give you a ton of information, but one of my favorites is when you click on links in the report section, it'll give you link performance, but it'll also give you a click map, and I just think this is the coolest thing. So it's a picture of your campaign, but then as you scroll through, it's going to show you for every link that is embedded in your email, here's the percentage of people who opened it where they clicked. So 29% of people clicked right here on the sign up now for the very first event. 12% clicked here for the Mailchimp one. Nobody clicked here. 4% of people clicked to watch the free website tutorial for Squarespace, etc. So you can go through every single link and just look and see, you know, are the clicks getting lower because they don't want to keep scrolling, or they just don't care, or whatever it might be. So it's really, really cool to kind of see this click map of, you know, how are people responding, which is really neat. And then your order history and product activity is in here, which gives information on, you know, what people are purchasing from this particular email that went out, which is really cool. But again, you have to hook up your store to be able to sell through your email. So all in all, that kind of brings us back to the end of the presentation, and I hope that you got a little something out of it. I know it's a lot of information, and I went the full time frame that we have. I will try and share some more Mailchimp videos on Facebook and just throughout the newsletters and stuff to kind of keep the ball rolling with Mailchimp. But certainly, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to call us, email, visit the website. Again, I don't think I even introduced myself because I wanted to hop right in today, but if you don't know me, my name's Kate Evans. I own Your Social Status. We're over in Centerville, Ohio, but we work with in-state, locally, and across the country. So I'm always happy to help you with anything that you might need. And I'd love for you to join us for another one of our upcoming webinars. If you use code 10, TEN, you can take $10 off any of the paid webinars. And then, of course, we've got some free ones coming up too. So thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to stop the recording and end this. And if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch. Thanks so much for joining me today.